Hi guys, Puddin here with an Alsace review for you. I'm going to do a proper one, not the shit show that was the first one while I was sick. But as you can see, right now I have no captain in here. This is the stock configuration for this ship right now, just to kind of compare it with the other tier 9s that you will be facing. You will probably be facing a lot of tier 10s too, but I just thought I would showcase how this stacks up against the other tier 9s that are available in game as of right now. Now, the reason I did wanted to start off with stock configuration is because unless you have a metric ton of free experience, there's a good chance you're going to have to play some of this potentially stock. To start off with, your survivability stock is at a 69,000 hit points. Your torpedo reduction is some of the best at tier 9. The Frederick, it's 27. The Iowa, Missouri is 27. Izuma's 30, and Lion is at 27 again, and you get 45%. So this is some of the best. Well, this is the best at tier 9, and all of the other ships I did look at were completely fully upgraded. Now, I do believe upgrading your hull really doesn't mess with torpedo reduction, but as you can see, when you upgrade the hull, you do bump up your hull to 74,700, which is a little bit on the low side. The Frederick is at 84,300. Iowa's at 79. Missouri's at 78,300. Izuma 78,900. And the Lion's at 67,900. So you're kind of on par with everyone else. You're a little bit less than the Frederick. You're obviously more than the Lion. And you're kind of on par with the Americans. Rid of that. Okay, so as far as survivability, you're in a good place as far as hit points and torpedo reduction. Now, your artillery stock, you can only let's see, you have a 26-second reload. That's because I have the module on. If not, it's a 30-second. To turn the turrets 180 degrees is 41.4 seconds. I forgot to look at the other battleships, but it's, what, these are battleships at the end of the day. We all know their turrets do not turn quick. Your maximum dispersion is 247. Once again, battleship, you should kind of be used to it. I know it's going to be better than Germans, a little bit less than the Americans, but you know what? We're focusing on the French battleship today, so it's kind of on par with everyone else. But the thing that kind of made me do my rant video is this HE fire chance. But your HE damage is 5,400. I don't know what the other ones are, because if you ever, well, with the exception of the Lion, if you ever shoot HE out of those, you're going to get berated in chat. But the Lion's HE is a 48% fire chance with a maximum damage of 7,200, to where yours is a 36% fire chance with a maximum HE damage of 5,400. Now, just to put that in perspective of all of the tier 9s, the Frederick, the FDG gets a fire chance of 43%. Iowa and Missouri get a 36% fire chance, while the Izuma gets a 30% fire chance. So really, on the fire chance side, you're right in the middle. You're on par with the Americans, you're better than the Japanese, you're lower than the FDG and Lion. Now, the difference between the Lion and yourself, or the British battleships in general, is they get much better HE alpha damage, but also they get better HE penetration damage, which is where about half of their damage comes from. The other damage is obviously from the fires. Your stack firing range is at 18.4 kilometers. Your maximum AP is at 11,900. Once again, you're kind of on par with everyone else. I do believe this is on the lower side compared to the Americans, German, and Japanese. I didn't even bother looking at the British because 9 times out of 10 you're shooting HE and not AP, except for certain situations. But I don't want to turn this into another rant. So your AP is just as good or is on par as everyone else. I do believe it's a little bit less because you get a lot more of these barrels. Now the initial AP shell velocity and HE shell velocity is exactly the same at 830 meters per second. Now, these are some of the fastest shells out of the barrel. I do believe the Azuma beats you with both of these at 870. The Americans are a lot less, but I was really looking at the AP more than their HE velocity. And you do get the second best velocity out of the barrel. The Frederick is at 800. The Iowa Missouri is at 760, 790. It's somewhere in there. But you do get very good velocity straight out of the barrel. Now, obviously, if you upgrade your module, you will be shooting at 20.3 kilometers, which is German-esque. The Germans have the shortest range. The Americans, I believe, are at about 23. I don't know. The Azuma's 20 plus. Lions, I don't even know because I refuse to play that chip anymore. But for as far as range, you're a little bit on the short side, but still 20.3 kilometers when you upgrade is plenty. Now, your secondary armament is going to be a little bit more of a focus. Now, the problem with the secondaries for the French is going to be the 100 mil, which is what we are looking at now. They have a 6% fire chance, which is the same as the Germans secondaries. As you can see with stock, your firing range is 9 kilometers, so you're going to be able to bump this up significantly compared to the Americans, Japanese, well, not the Azuma. Azuma gets good secondaries, but compared to the Americans and the British. Upgrade to hull. Your fire chance goes down to 5%. Your shell velocity for your secondaries increases greatly. Let's throw in the commander, because I do have the module. Gonna throw on the flag because, well, as you can see, I have plenty. And now with it fully upgraded, you get 11.3. Now the Frederick does have longer at 11.5. You pretty much have the same secondary range as a Bismarck. As you can see, you do lose 1% of fire chance. You do get faster loading secondaries at the 100 mil, but the problem is they are 100 mil, and in order to get the 100 mil to do damage, you need IFHE, which I personally don't go with because it's too costly of a tier 4 perk for myself. With the 152 millimeter secondaries, I believe these are dual purpose for your AA2, your fire chance does go up to 12%. Your firing range is still at 11.3, but you get 11.4 second reload. Now you only get 3 of these, which these are going to be the ones that have a little bit more health and longer lasting. This is why I think the Germans are better, because they get more of their dual purpose or long range working, and I believe that their lower tier, smaller secondaries is like 102 or something millimeters. But once again, I usually go with a secondary build on the Germans for fire, not for raw damage. You could do the same thing with the French. It's just, you got to be a little bit trickier because you are working with less health. Now that we've gone over the secondaries, obviously the upgrade for your primaries, the AA is nothing spectacular. You're not as good as the Americans. It's adequate. This AA is adequate if you are in a group, which is why I run a fighter instead of a spotter. But you get 10 of these double 25 millimeters, which shoot out to 3.7 kilometers and do an average damage of 56. The 37 millimeter, I'm so bad at pronouncing some stuff, but you get 12 of these, which are two 37 millimeters, which shoot out at a range of 4.2 kilometers and do an average damage of 145. This is like your mid-range. Here is the dual purpose 100 millimeters, which shoot out to 6 kilometers. They do an average damage of 82 damage. And then the dual purpose 152s, 6 kilometers, at an average damage of 25. You really don't have AA to write home about, but you can kind of defend yourself if the carrier does bring in squadrons one at a time. You will be okay, but you're still going to want to stick with somebody else who has better AA than you. Oh, we're going to look at that upgraded because I forgot. But when you do get the upgraded hull, as you can see, your damage per second goes up and your firing range goes down to 1.3 for the 20 millimeter guns. I do believe, are you getting less of those? Nope, you're still getting the same. But your 20 millimeters change, and then your 100 millimeter dual purpose change, and you get a plus 96 to your average damage. So you lose some of the range for your short range, you gain some damage, but you gain damage for your dual purpose long range 100 millimeters. Now, this is what I mean by it's adequate, but you still want to stick with somebody else to get an AA bubble. If you're stuck, you're going to definitely want to stick with it. When you do upgrade, it depends on what carrier you are facing, is whether or not you can kind of work a flank or not. Maneuverability, I believe, does not change between the two upgrades. Oh, no, it does. Your maneuverability stock is you maintain a 30.4 speed knot. I do believe there is an engine upgrade. I do not have equipped now. But your turning circle is 910 meters. It's a battleship at the end of the day. It's nothing to write home about, nothing to brag about, nothing to complain about. Your rudder shift is 23.2 seconds, which is fairly good. But once again, you're a battleship, so nobody's writing letters home bragging about it. Nobody's storming the castle with pitchforks. Now, with the upgraded hull, or with the upgraded engine, you do increase your speed to 32 knots, which is on par with the Americans. With the upgraded hull, you actually drop your rudder shift time down to 16.6 seconds, which is really, really good, actually. This is a very maneuverable vessel with the hull upgrade. This is something that, sure, somebody's going to write home about, but still, at the end of the day, it is a battleship. Stupid Discord is probably sneaking. Now, your detectability stock is, well, let's send you back to reserves because you have a perk on. Sorry about all this moving around of captains, but I do like to show stock, and when you do finally do upgrade it, your stock concealment is 15.1. Your air is 13.6 unless it is below 11 kilometers. Your detectability by air is who cares, because planes will only spot out to 11 kilometers, as there is sneaky chiming and because I'm in the wrong Discord. But your assured detection, or what is known as you are so close to a ship, it doesn't matter if they're in smoke behind an island, is 2 kilometers. If you strap on the target acquisition, that goes up to 3 kilometers. Your detectability in smoke after firing your guns is 15.4 kilometers, so don't do it unless the thing's on the other side of the map and you got your spotter plane on. Now, the upgraded hull doesn't drop your concealment, but I do believe I do have the concealment module on. I don't feel like taking that off and on. I would advise just to go with concealment because, as you can see, your concealment with a captain with the concealment expert drops you down to 13 kilometers by sea, and you're still over that 11 kilometers, so it's no big deal. But once you slap on a camouflage, which I strongly recommend, that has some sort of concealment, I'm just doing this, well, I don't even know to do that for experience, but I'm just going to slap on the basic camouflage. It gives me -3 to detection and +4 to enemy dispersion coming in at me. Auto resupply because I do enjoy the ship and I do believe it's a keeper. Your detectability by sea drops down to 12.6. Now, to put that on terms of the other battleships, fully upgraded to a stealth build, which is what I have for all of them. Your Frederick the Grosser detectability is 13 kilometers. You are outspotting that. Your Iowa, Missouri detectability is 12.2. You're probably going to spot each other at about the same time due to turning circles and all of that stuff. The Azuma is still at an abysmal 14.5. And the Lion is at 11.7. So the Lion gets the best detection, while you are on par for pretty much everyone else except for poor Azuma, who is spotted in space. As you can see, your detectability by air is 11.7, so it doesn't matter. At 11 kilometers, the planes will spot you. Now, what I go for as far as consumables, as you can see, is I highly recommend at this tier you go all premium. But my recommended upgrades, Jesus, I'm just losing focus on words. Let me fully upgrade the ship now because I am still playing it. Protect my main batteries, DAMCOM 1 and 2, longer shooting secondaries to get some sort of secondary going, concealment so I can take advantage of that, and faster firing primaries. Now, the unique thing about the French is obviously they get an engine boost, which really puts your speed as you are the fastest battleship in the game when you do hit that. I just forgot what it is off the top of my head because, believe it or not, I don't use my engine boost as much as I should, and that is shame on me and good for everyone else. But as you can see, you know, this ship is a solid performer. It's pretty much on par with everything else. I don't want to turn this into another rant video on the poor British, but what I like about the French battleship is it's on par with all the other guys. As you can see, I'm pretty much going with my standard battleship build right now, but I am taking advantage of my captain because he is the a specialized captain. You know, my captain skills are priority target, expert marksman, adrenaline rush, basics of survivability, advanced fire training, and concealment. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to round out this captain to finish it off, but my starting perks are usually priority target, expert marksman, basic survivability, concealment, and then I go advanced fire training to help out with mainly AA and secondaries. But it's mainly AA, and in this case, it's AA and secondaries. But the French feel like a proper battleship. Now, we're going to go over the armor and show one of the main weaknesses of the French. It is this 32 millimeter plate armor that is covering this ship everywhere. Ugh. Gotta pull out. I mean, this stuff is everywhere. Superstructure, yeah, nobody really writes home about, oh, look at my superstructure. But this 32 millimeter is going to get beat out by any of the IFHE cruisers, i.e. the 150 to 155 mil cruisers that are in the game, which I believe are Mogami, Chapayev, Kutuzov, are going to be your big ones running IFHE. If I forgot somebody, I'm sorry. But they're going to pen right through this stuff and do damage. The Germans are going to go right through this because they get IFHE for free with none of the downside. But the nice thing about this is oops, hit the wrong button. Is while the Americans get a lowered citadel, click this off. Nobody cares about that. The top plating is here is your citadel armor, or your armor belt. You know, here's the underwater bulkhead, which is 50 millimeters, which is why you get such glorious that. But if we kind of zoom in, this almost looks like the Germans with the turtleback armor. So you're gonna have to go through this 355 millimeter just to get to the citadel. Let's turn off all of that so we can see the citadel, which is only 50 millimeters. Now, if you are fighting any of the Jesus, I forgot to look at the Musashi. But if you're looking at Musashi or Izuma, they're going to go right through this crap and citadel you. So you do want to aim a little bit to help you out there. Anyone else fighting you is probably going to be aiming under the front guns. Because that is a notorious way to citadel easily. Ships you aim under the front guns. Waterline. But your biggest problem is really your 32 millimeter, which is going to give you a hard time for cruisers. Now, the other downside of the Alsace is actually your guns. These are 380, which I believe is 15-inch shells, 15 point something. I'm not 100% sure. So you are going to have a problem dealing with Baltimore and Des Moines that are bow on. You will not be able to overmatch their bow. I do believe the Germans get that same glorious bow. So you're going to have a hard time dealing with things that are bow on, even cruisers. Doesn't mean if you know where to aim, you can't do good damage. It just means you're not going through their bow, so you're going to want to be aiming for their guns or into the superstructure. And just to show you guys the same armor layout as the Germans, as far as what I was saying with turtleback armor, you can get citadeled if you do show enough broadside. You will get a lot of pen damage, but you know, here's the Frederick. same type of armor scheme, for the most part, as far as citadel protection as the Alsace. And let's look at my favorite ship of all time. You know, the US don't get any of this. The Japanese don't get any of that turtle backing. I'm not even going to bother with the line because it doesn't have a citadel, as far as anybody knows, unless there's a bug in the game. But this is what makes the Alsace just an all-around good ship. Is if I was telling somebody who just started the game what battleship line they should start with, I would actually recommend the French. While there are a couple gimmicky battleships in the line, the line in general just feels like a very good, solid battleship line. I would tell them, you know what, grind out to the Alsace, and then make up your mind if you want to go with the Republic, because the Republic is going to play a little bit differently, but you can still play it the same. But just to maximize it, you are going to play a little bit different than you would in Alsace. And Alsace is just a good all-around battleship. I think the French line in general is a good all-around battleship. But like I said, somebody new to the game, I would tell them go down to French to the Alsace, or go down the German line and just work that line over completely, and then make up your mind if you want to deal with the other three lines in the game. Now we are going to go check out some gameplay to showcase the use of AP in the ship and getting these 15-inch shells to work for you. Now you guys already saw my captain skills that I have on this ship at the moment, and you did see my modules. I hit the wrong button, but here is the team lineup, and as you can see, I am top tier. Now, being top tier always helps any ship, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be an easy cakewalk. Most of the time, you're probably going to be mid-tier, being a lot of tier 10 games. But just to give you guys a little background information, the whole purpose and point of the rant video was, I've seen so many people in the Richelieu, Alsace, and Republic that shoot HE exclusively throughout the entire game. And you know what, I mean, like I was saying in the port side of it, you're not British. You don't get the British alpha that you do with your HE. Your AP is very workable and very good. Now, I'm not going to get into debates on one proper time it is to use HE, because by this tier, you should know. But as you can see, we're going over on to A side, and really I'm kind of going a little slowish, just to wait for the Missouri to get up here. And, you know what, help out, i.e. potentially also be shot at, instead of just me. Look at it, broadside cruiser AP. Got a Citadel. Now, you are going to see me struggle a little bit against New Orleans, because if they angle properly, they can bounce some of these shells. But just because you're not getting citadels and big chunks of damage doesn't mean that your AP is useless. As you can see, New Orleans is angling. I'm not paying attention to where those shells are landing, because I just, I didn't think they were, going to get the home run hit. I'm also trying to pay attention for these torpedoes that are coming. I don't know why our New Orleans stopped in the middle of, well, everybody and just being shot at, but thank you. But you know what, with our New Orleans, being the first victim of this game, it's kind of like, I don't feel like going over there. I know that we are facing against a DD. there's really not too much our RDD can do because he is Pan Asian. So it's like, what's he gonna do? Torpid? There's a New Orleans in the area. There's actually two New Orleans in the area. And really, what I was doing was making my turn to get into a kiting position. Because you can see there's really nobody near this cap for us to contest it. Wasn't too sure what the Missouri's intentions were going to be. Our St. Louis is trying to do the French cruiser thing, which, you know, it's what they do. Get on the flank, work the flanks, and, you know, make them decide whose AP they want to eat, mine or his. You know, and of course, and if he burns things, awesome. Now, I was paying attention to the minimap prior to getting my guns ready to deal with this Algerie, but I did see him coming down here. Now, somebody did ask me, you know, what would I think about slapping the IFHE on the ship, and I'm like, it's just IFHE just to get your secondaries is extremely costly to me, because in order to really get the best bang out of your buck for that, you would have to go full secondary build, which would mean you're going to need AFT and you're going to need manual, which means you only have one slot left for a tier 4 captain skill. If you took IFHE, you wouldn't be able to take concealment. If you took concealment, you wouldn't be able to get either AFT or, well, you probably would take manual if you are going to take IFHE, but you wouldn't be able to get take something else. So that's why I think IFHE is just really not worth it per se, just to get your secondaries. When at the end of the day, all of these ships, their bread and butter, their big damage dealers, their money makers are going to be your primaries. Now, as you can see, it looks like the guys at a few of them turned around to come deal with the Algerie, which I easily dispensed of. But they look like they're really not even trying for it now. While that was going on, I wasn't paying attention to what our DD in Missouri was doing. And I see this and I'm like, well, our Missouri's dead. Just a matter of who can he take with him and how long can he last. Now, I do believe one of my shells did hit the Missouri, but I don't know why it didn't pop up for team damage, which is why I said sorry. If it didn't, you know what? Just better safe than sorry. Now, we see the second New Orleans over here, and you know what? We have a full health St. Louis. St. Louis should easily be able to deal with the New Orleans, as I take a big hit from the Eisenhower that went in, that is still on their ACAP. Now, just because the St. Louis should easily dispatch of them doesn't mean I'm not going to take shots to try to help out our cruiser, as it looks like he definitely got punished for showing side to the New Orleans. But I gotta chalk up the New Orleans is dead. While I'm still got my secondaries on him, every little inch will help. As our St. Louis does finish off the New Orleans, I pop my plane to find out what the other French battleship is doing, the Tier 7. Now, he's got his guns looked at our cruiser, and what I'm trying to do is draw his attention. Now, what I really think makes these French battleships so extremely good is two things. They get good secondaries, and the fact that they do get some decent range, so you can suck somebody in if you need to, or you can pop your speed boost and run away while you are kiting. I think these are excellent kiting battleships, just because of that speed boost and because of their excellent concealment. Now, the other reason why I kind of did turn my ship in is, I didn't want to continue showing broadside to this gentleman. It's for a couple of reasons. You know what? Angle up. I'll be able to properly tank this guy as I dispatch of him. But because everybody, for the most part, except for Utilize, abandoned A, they've all come over here. They've done their retreating action, and it's a Missouri and an Iowa. I am top tier, and I've always believed, especially in games like this, when you're top tier, you need to make your presence felt. Now, because the Missouri's got so many fires on it, I can't tell what it's doing, forward, backwards, what not. I probably should have waited and been a little bit more patient with my shot to figure out which direction the guy was going in. But we still have the DD at A. There's still the DD that was at B, which I believe is the Pan-Asian gentleman. I'm so bad at pronouncing some of their names. But right now, I'm trying to look and see, obviously, what the biggest threats are. Oh, look, the DD. Of course he's the biggest threat to me because, he's got those hideous deep water torps. And what I mean by that is I won't be able to see them until it's well too late to avoiding getting hit by them. Now, our Utili was at least able to finish off the Kutuzov, which kind of got rid of the potential IFHE spammer, which is great because Kutuzov could really do a lot of damage if it's got IFHE because of all the 32 millimeter plate armor all around this thing. Now, I did see that the Missouri was slowing down. I do know that the DD was with this gentleman, and he wasn't with the Iowa. But what I'm about to say, I don't want people to take the wrong way. I have played against a lot of guys in this Wolf clan that have been extremely good. But I've also played against some of their less skilled players. Now, unfortunately, I've played way too many more games with their less skilled players than their skilled players. What I'm trying to do is suck the Iowa into my secondaries, and this guy is going to make colossal, game-changing mistakes. As you can see, we're losing. We've kind of got the ship lead down, but right now, it's a 3v1 in this situation. There's 3 people targeting me. It's definitely not the guys in on A. They clearly have the advantage over here. They have the health pool, they have the guns, and they have the spotting. Now, what I'm trying to do is, like I said, suck in the Iowa and let my secondaries kind of burn him down. Now, I may have my speed boost going, but I am slowing down a little bit. I'm really not going to fare the Iowa because I'm fairly well angled. And, I mean, like I said, I've been in a lot of games against some of these members that just seem to not handle pressure. I guess would be a better way to put it. But this guy in the Iowa, what he should have done was continue to push me. Now, their DD is going to make another big mistake, and this could be maybe why the Iowa turned away and isn't pushing me. But their DD does a good job of at least smoking up the Missouri. Now, because I do not have manual secondaries, my secondaries will fire on both sides if it be the case, and I do not need to click on a ship for my secondaries to activate. I still will click on a ship just because you get a slight bonus still to it. But my goal right now is to just try to reset the cap as much as possible. As I barely get that reset in, as our DD comes in with a big, massive saving hit. Now, pretty much any shell should just finish off this gentleman unless I get extremely unlucky. But with the amount of shells going down range, it's just not going to be the case. Sorry about that, guys. Now, if the DD stayed on the cap, they would have capped this thing. They would have had C. Now I don't know where the DD is. Which, you know, is still making me a little hesitant. He wasn't shooting from the smoke, but I know he's not on C. And then I see that he's capping B. I'm like, that guy drove all the way through instead of trying to deal with me. So their 3v1 turned into 2v1, 1v1, to another 1v1. Now, I did get a lot of help from our DD. Those torpedoes were definitely a very nice welcome, but you know what? I was just trying to delay them to cap. But then again, with the way the Iowa turned and kind of went away instead of pushing me, allowed me to make my turn to re-push this cap, along with the DD going to B, because really what I was thinking was, okay, the Missouri's dead, nothing's getting their cap, there haven't been any torps sent at me, where did their destroyer go? I've got to make this turn anyways. I need to push in. I need to deal with the Iowa. Now, luckily for us, we've kind of brought the scores back, but we're still kind of down on points. We're down on caps, but I'm thinking the Iowa was going to make the turn to show me broadside. What I'm aiming for is guns, because I noticed he wouldn't. Oh, he wasn't, but I'm kind of switching sides, trying to see if this gentleman's going to come in for the ram. Because what you do is, if they are going to come in for the ram, you know, you juke them out, you sail straight past them, you do not continue the turn. And at this point, I'm thinking, oh, he's going to show me full broadside. He knocks out one of my guns. Luckily, he's just incapacitated, but I'm taking a big risk by not repairing it. I kind of want to hold my repair for any potential fires. But as you can see, I'm still trying to maintain an angle to this guy. This is the point when I decide to gun it and just go for it. Once again, aiming for front gun. As this guy gets a nice 15k salvo, I'm in way too close to even zoom up, so I'm just going to aim right in the boiler room, get the Citadel. But, you know, I got my secondaries coming into play. He's burning. This guy's as good as dead. But I was just going to continue driving in a straight line. Now, I think with all of, you know, everything that's been going on, I'm just going to sail the D because I don't want to deal with the DD. But we are still down behind points. What is not going to take much for the DD to potentially bring this game home. Spoiler, spoiler, it doesn't happen. I get to D, our DD gets to B. We stopped our points, and we do win this game out. But as far as the French battleships goes, I think these are really solid ships in general. I think this gameplay alone showed, you know what, just because they're 15-inch shells, you get an awful lot of them because you get 4 barrels per turret. You still can punish things, but the shooting HE only thing is just, it doesn't make sense. Your HE is nothing great compared to, like, the British. Instead of letting this play out, guys, we're going to go check out the post-battle results and my final thoughts on the Alsace and the French battleship line in general. Now, I hope you guys really did enjoy this video. I hope you found it informative. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Now, if you are new to the game and you are thinking about a ship line to go up, or if you haven't gone up any battleship lines, the French is a good starting mix. To me, they feel like a good mix between US and German. Well, the German can get in a little bit closer with their secondaries and not worry about being citadel to where the French do have to worry about it. And the Americans get better accuracy, but you get accuracy through volume. It's just a very good mix between the two. I think the French are a very solid battleship line. We do appreciate all the support you guys do give us. We do love the replays you send us. The email for that is in the description down below. Please remember to compliment good teamwork, good team play. We are quick to report, slow to compliment. Please hit that like and subscribe button and have yourselves one heck of a great day.